Hi, this is Craig Schaefer and welcome to the virtual CISO moment. Wanted to spend a few minutes talking about ISO 27001 and ISO 27002. You may have heard of these. These are international information security standards, but there's also a lot of confusion about what they are, what they mean, what their scope is, how they're applicable to your business. First of all, ISO doesn't stand for International Standardization Organization. It's actually International Organization for Standardization. But that's a translation from the original language, which I believe is Swedish, for ISO. So we still refer to ISO. And then 27001 and 27002, they're actually part of the 27000 series. A little bit of back history on it. Actually, the information security standard that was originally postulated by ISO was the 17799. It fell underneath the 1700 group back, this is 15 years ago, probably a little bit more than that. And but it became such an important aspect of running a business, running an organization, that needing its own standard was pretty much self-evident. So the standard was created within its own area, so 27,000. And as you might think, that implies that there's many more standards than ISO 27001 and 27002. And that's actually true. There's risk assessment standard is 27005. There's one for cloud computing, one for the financial institutions. I don't know what the exact list is right now, but it is always growing. But that brings us back to 27001 and 27002. These are the ones that people know about the most. So really, what are they? Well, first of all, they complement each other. They're not independent. 27001 is the overarching standard that institutions can get certified for, in that it looks at everything with regards to an information security program. So how the program is managed, how you handle risk assessment, where it's within the organization and who are the primary stakeholders, how you actually review how the security program is progressing, and how do you take corrective action. And embedded within that are controls. There's actually 114 of them across, I believe it's 14 clauses. So sometimes some standards refer to domains, and ISO it's clauses. And essentially, those 114 controls and 14 clauses are part of the end of 27001, whereas 27002 expands upon those controls about advice on how to implement, some more details about what the specific requirements are, and those sorts of things. So there's often a lot of confusion about that. Sometimes we'll get asked, well, are we certified to ISO 27002? No, and there is no such thing for that. But some people then will say, well, but we've done a gap assessment on it, and that's fine, because a gap assessment is different than certification. And the gap assessment is more looking at the gap in your controls. And remember, 27002 is about controls, whereas 27001 is everything, the entire encompassing what they refer to as information security management system. So an organization can be certified to ISO 27001, and it's a process that's similar to many audits, certainly not as common, at least here in the United States, as a SOC 2 audit, but the process is very much the same, looking at aspects of the organization and eventually rendering a judgment. It's a very involved process, and you don't necessarily need to meet all of the aspects of 27001. But if you don't meet all of the aspects, there needs to be a rationale as to why it isn't important for your business. So that might be one of the specific controls, maybe around authentication in a wireless environment, and you don't have a wireless environment. Well, then it becomes a non-issue. We'll spend more time next week really diving into the clauses and the controls, really getting into some of the nitty-gritty. But until then, stay secure.